Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. I hope you're doing well, and if you're not, I hope you are soon. Okay, today on the Dungeon Dive, we are going to continue our look at horror-themed games, and we are going to return to the Walking Dead Here's Negan board game. A game that I think is highly underrated. It's so underrated that I actually forgot to include it on my top 50 games of all time. And I really do think it should have been included in that list because this game is fantastic. Mantic did a really good job of putting a whole heck of a lot of a game into a pretty small box, a nice medium sized box here. They really do cram this box full of stuff. There is so much to do and play and experience and so much fun to have with this game. The thing that I like most about Here's Negan is that it gives me that same kind of tension-filled gameplay that Space Hulk does, but it is fully co-op, and so therefore it is easier to play solo. It plays better solo than any of like the variants for Space Hulk do. But it's the only game I know of in this kind of like a dudes on a map in a corridor, moving through corridors and rooms that gives me that same kind of tension as Space Hulk. It's almost as simple as Space Hulk. There's not a lot of complexity to it, but there are a lot of good decision points to be made. There are a lot of good tactical and strategic decisions to be made on the map, and it's just really fun. Mantic, I think, really hit it out of the park with this game. I'm wondering if maybe the Walking Dead IP, the theming of Walking Dead, maybe kind of turned some people away, like maybe people like me who don't love The Walking Dead. I mean, The Walking Dead is okay. I've said in my initial look at this game, I have read some of the comics, I have watched some of the TV show, I know who some of the characters are, I know that Negan's a big jerk, and I know he's a jerk in the comics and in the TV show, and they do a really good job of continuing that jerk mode for Negan in the game. He's one of the most interesting NPCs in a board game that I know of. The game is relatively simple, so you are going to be taking a number of survivors here. I am playing with 3. I am playing with Dwight, Laura, and Sherry. And then we also have Negan here. And most of these scenarios, and I believe there's about 12 scenarios included in the game, most of the scenarios are going to be a combination of escort missions and search and secure missions. And what you were trying to do is Negan, you're going to be, Negan's going to be represented by this mini here. He is always going to start at a point, and he is going to travel a predetermined route that is based off of the map that you are playing, and his route is shown in a dotted line. And he is going to be moving to an endpoint, and the endpoint is usually shown by these arrows here. So that is in this mission here, that is the main objective. Negan needs to move and survive and get all the way to the end here. If he does that, the players win. But Negan, being Negan, he is unpredictable. He doesn't like being bothered. If you need his help, he gets mad. He acts like a child. He makes noise. He smashes things with his bat for no reason at all, and causes all kinds of chaos. Negan is a great agent of chaos, and that is represented so well in this game by this tiny deck of cards here. You will learn to love and hate this little deck of cards. You will love it because it is always fun. Something outrageous happens, and you will hate it because Negan is like just a childish jerk. So this deck of cards here, coupled with this deck of event cards, really do elevate this game. Without these 2 decks of cards, this would be just kind of a really basic zombies or really basic zombicide style game. But with these decks of cards, with the randomness and the cool things that these 2 decks add, it really does elevate this to a great game. So when it is Negan's turn, of course, you will draw one of these Negan cards, and this will dictate what he does. Usually, he will want to move a certain number of spaces on that predetermined path to get to where he needs to go. And then usually something else will also happen. For instance, PP Pants City here, move 3 spaces, so he would move 3 spaces. And then survivors with 5 or less reputation lose stamina. Survivors with 6 or more reputation may choose to immediately move spaces. So stamina is your health, and as survivors lose stamina, they can go down to 0 stamina. If they ever reach 0 stamina, they're incapacitated, and they have to take a recuperation action to get back up. However, if a zombie ever lands a critical hit on a survivor, then they are bitten. And if they ever get down to 0 stamina when they are bitten, then they are out of the game. So there is a chance of player elimination in this game. You also have a reputation track, and this is more for in the kind of, even though this game is co-op, each survivor is kind of competing to be the top dog, to be Lieutenant's right-hand man. And the survivors with the most reputation at the end of each mission will get a little bit of a bonus that you can perhaps carry over into the next mission. But there are all kinds of different things that Negan can do. Sometimes he just acts like a total child, where he does not move at all, and instead he instantly becomes enraged. He makes noise, he causes more zombies to come onto the board, causes all kinds of bad things to happen, and just gets pissed off. Sometimes he will just make people want to move more. He can move 2 spaces and remove a reputation from the nearest survivor. He intimidates them. Move 2 spaces and remove 1 reputation from all survivors within 3 spaces. Move 2 spaces, move. So there's just all kinds of crazy things that he can do, and you never really know what he's going to do, and he always seems to do the thing that you want him to do less. I don't know, it's like this weird kind of like haunted AI system. And then that coupled with the random events deck here. So these are things that the walkers on their turn, after all of the survivors have gone, the turn order is all of the survivors go, then the walkers go, and then Negan goes. And so when it is the walkers phase, at the top of that phase, you draw an event card. And oh my God, this is the worst one. This one completely destroyed my last game. This is a herd or a horde. I think it probably should be horde. Usually zombies are called hordes, but this is a herd of zombies. You have to choose a survivor, and you have to place walker tokens closest to that survivor on one of the entry squares. So the entry squares, usually a scenario will have 3 entry squares designated by these tokens here with the entry arrows. And those correspond to the threat level. And the threat level is kept by that little dial. As it moves up, things get scarier and scarier within the sanctuary here. And the rooms become harder and harder to secure. But these tokens here, so this is where the kind of Space Hulk similarities come in, is that when you introduce walkers to the board, you will often have them introduced by these tokens, and they will come in, and you don't know what is represented by these tokens until you make line of sight to those tokens, and then you will flip them over, and then you will roll the die on each token, and depending on the number of pips that you roll, that will determine how many walkers are spawned on those spaces or adjacent spaces. So very much like Space Hulk there. I love it. I love this system. I wish more games use something like this. Sometimes also when you enter a room, when you open a door, like a game of Zombicide, every time you open a door to a new room, you are going to draw a room card, and the room card will usually have something that happens like collapsed walls, riled up walkers, two supply tokens in there and some walkers, a flooded room, a rotten floor, alarmed, all kinds of different things. I like this door deck. I wish it was a little larger. Maybe there was like 15 more different kinds of door events that could happen, but there are some cool things that do happen when you do open the doors. And sometimes you will reveal supply tokens, and with those supply tokens, if you can secure them, then you will get to draw some kind of new weapon or new item. And sometimes there are bad things. Sometimes, you You might disturb a pile of rubbish looking for something cool, and underneath that rubbish is a lurker, is a walker that is waiting there to attack you. You can get armor, you can get things to help distract zombies to make noise somewhere else, lucky charms, cigars, medicine, bandages, sledgehammers, all kinds of cool things to find to help you survive the onslaught of the Walking Dead. But one of the things you also want to do is Negan, as he's following his path, he will never open a door himself because he is a petulant child and he expects all doors to be open for him. So sometimes you might come across these locked doors, and the only way you can open those is if you bash them. And when you bash them, you make noise, attracting more zombies to your location. But when you do enter a room, after you draw that room tile, and if you clear out all the zombies in that room, then your survivors can move into that room, and then they can attempt to try to secure that room by rolling a certain amount of, I think it's the red dice, and then you have to hit whatever the threat level is. You have to roll that many pips or more on the dice in order to secure a room. Because another thing that Negan won't do is Negan will never enter an unsecured room. And if he ever has to, because of the card he draws, he instantly gets pissed off and goes into a rage where whenever Negan goes into his rage mode, the survivor with the highest reputation loses reputation. Survivors within 3 spaces loses stamina because he starts swinging his bat, getting all mad. If no survivors are in range, then Negan causes noise, and he causes more zombies to come out. He causes the zombies to move towards him, making things just worse and worse. This is one of those games where everything can be going really well, and you're thinking, man, this is easy. We totally got this, guys. And then in one turn, because of something Negan did, just a bad draw, it can create mass chaos, and bad luck can happen really quickly in this game. You can quickly get overrun. In the first game that I played today, by the second, I had a terrible game. It was hilarious. I loved it. By the second or third turn, I had almost all of the zombies out on the board. Negan was pissed off all the time. He was swinging at the survivors. It was a terrible, terrible situation, and it made me laugh a lot just because of this stupid little deck here. Negan's AI deck is man, you will just really hate him so much. I've never hated a little plastic dude more than I hate Negan in this game, and it is always fun. It's just a fun thing to do. But yeah, I really recommend this game a lot. It should have been in my top 50. It's super fun. It's super thematic. It has a lot of neat interlocking kind of mechanisms. I guess one of the main things is it is a smaller box, and it is a little expensive. I think it's like $60. And I think people see the $60 price tag and they see this small box and they think that it is maybe too expensive for what they're going to get. And I get that. At $40, this is a must buy. If you can find it close to $40, I highly recommend it. The rule book is really well written. It's a pretty simple game to learn. The rule book is well laid out. I love this comic book size. Mantic makes my favorite size rule books. I wish all rule books were this comic book size. I wish more games were in this size box, this nice medium-sized box, were crammed with this much stuff. Just really good. How many scenarios are there? Yeah, there are 12 scenarios. Each one takes about an hour and a half or so. So you don't have to play them in order. You can play standalone, but you can also play them in order and use this kind of like survival mode, which is a little bit of a campaign mode where you will be competing for reputation. And the top dog bonus, they will start the game with a little extra. And so there is a little bit of competition in this co-op game. There are also things that you can put on the map. Some rooms will have a fire, and then you also have to deal with fire. There are some terrain elements that you can add to the map, such as these air ducts, which connect 2 points together, kind of like a shortcut. So there are some tactical things to add to the map. You can vault over things. You can use things to your advantage because the zombies will never vault over things. So there is some consideration to the map. If I had one complaint, it would be that the tiles are pretty boring looking. The game doesn't look great set up. It doesn't. It's not going to cause any heads to turn. That's for sure. The zombie minis are nice. There are 3 or 4 different sculpts there, so those are pretty nice. I think Mantic makes quality minis. I've seen these painted up, and they do look good. They are chunky, and I do like the way that things look. The cards are high quality. Everything's high quality except for the art on the tiles. It doesn't look very exciting, and that has probably to do with the setting being inside these like kind of like barren warehouses. But yeah, if you can find this game for like $40, pick it up. If you like Space Hulk and you're looking for a Space Hulk that is co-op and therefore a Space Hulk that is really fun solo, then this is super, super highly recommended. So, all right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed revisiting The Walking Dead Here's Negan, the board game with me. And I hope you enjoyed this video. We will talk to you later. Bye-bye.